Well, hey everyone. I have a very special guest, D. Scott Smith. Hey, Scott.
Hey, how's it going?
Great. How are you?
Excellent.
Good. Now, you've been on before, and you are our resident commercial realtor.
That's right, because all I do is commercial.
All you do is commercial. Exactly. So, I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about, well, first, let's do a quick intro. So, you are the broker at Core Plus Commercial, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then that's in, where is it again? Pennsylvania?
Yeah, no, in
Maryland?
the Mid-Atlantic area.
Mid-Atlantic. Okay.
So it's DC, Northern Virginia, Maryland, Southern
Got it.
Pennsylvania, Delaware. Yeah.
Okay. And
So
then you do a commercial podcast too, which is
I do
called
Commercial Real Estate Weekly.
Hey,
Hey.
nice. So if people are interested in learning, because most of our audience is residential realtors, but I've noticed that a couple of people are starting to be more interested in commercial. So they can grab your podcast and then you also have a class.
I do. I have a full collegiate level commercial education
Nice.
online, even that I started in February, right before COVID. I launched and
It's a good time to start commercial
I
real estate.
well, yeah, it was great. So I did. I started that in February, and it's a 60-day class.
Yeah.
So halfway through the class, COVID hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you
So
create COVID? Are you the culprit?
nope, I
No,
didn't
you wouldn't want to do that.
do it.
So if people wanted to learn, if after we do what we do what we're doing here, and they're interested in learning more about the class, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
So you can probably find me on Facebook, Instagram, D Scott Smith CCIM. You can just Google it, and there's probably a
Hmm.
thousand hits. For the class, the website, if you go to my Patreon account, which is patreon.com/CRE education.
Okay.
It's for commercial real estate education. You will you can subscribe there. I have 3 levels. If you just want newsletter, general information, that kind of stuff,
Hmm.
that's a couple dollars a month. If you
Okay.
want if you want single classes, um, which some classes I teach are like a 6-hour class, right?
Wow.
Uh, those are at the mid level. I think that's $20 a month. And then if you want the commercial 60-day class with a couple hours a month consulting, that's
Hmm.
$60 a month. So I have different levels because not everybody wants the same kind of thing.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, that's helpful. Okay, so we'll recap that information and then that way people can. So what I want to talk about today with
Okay.
you is now since COVID hit, it seems like commercial has taken a big hit. So what is that an
Yeah.
understatement?
That's probably, here's what I'm going to equate it to. In 2008, when the residential market fell off the cliff,
Yeah, huh?
right? So commercial didn't really get hit that bad because
Oh,
yeah,
it's different.
different makeups of how the industry performs and the ingredients that make up the industry. In this case, it's almost the exact thing flip flop to where we got hit really hard and residential is still climbing.
Yeah.
But that's what we did in 2008. Um,
Where residential got hit hard, but commercial was climbing. Got
exactly,
it. Okay.
exactly. So yeah, we're at our market has declined by some 67%.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what do you think? I mean, you're like a numbers guy, you're like a stats guy. You've been doing commercial for how long? For a long time.
Yeah, let me see. I got my CCIM designation in 2007. So what is that?
13.
13 years. It took me about 5 years to get that. So about, yeah, 18 years, I'd say.
Yeah, that's a long time. So
Yeah.
what do you see as like the future of commercial real estate? Do you think it's a good idea for if our residential agents want to learn it, you think it's like a good time or what do you think?
Um, that's a tricky question because it actually, in some ways, is the best time
Okay.
because uh, you're not getting thrown into the fire of a hot market,
Hmm.
right? So
Right.
you have the ability to like slow cook it, right? So
Yeah.
you can learn it, you can do a little bit of it, you can ease into it because there's not a lot going on.
Do you think
Whereas
what after all this is over, like it'll come out kind of looking the same, or do you think it's going to look a little bit different?
it's going to be so different.
Okay.
Yeah. So um, the only aspect of commercial that is actually performing right now in all the markets across the country and even globally is really the industrial
Oh,
market,
okay.
which are pretty much because
That's
a
like
lot of
warehouses and
warehouses,
stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
distribution centers. So
Hmm.
Amazon, right,
Sure.
is basically spearheading that whole thing, as well as individuals doing drop shipping and how we're becoming more of a delivery based society. So
Hmm.
warehouse space kind of replaces that 100,000 square foot back in shopping center grocery store, right? So
Right.
now that grocery store may go completely online or a small footprint where you can pick up or drop stuff off, but you're not going to have the full 100,000 square feet for you to go shopping in, right? So
Right.
seeing a lot of that stuff in the industry on the retail side. So industrial's picking up, retail not so much.
What about all the co-working spaces and office spaces and things? We have this on YouTube also, so if people
Okay,
want to
no,
watch his facial
fine.
expressions, it's worth it.
So here's the thing. Office space. We did an analysis, and it was like an 85 floor office building in Washington, not Washington, New York City, and because of their requirements on elevator capacity due to COVID,
Oh, right. Because you
it's
can't have more than like two,
yeah,
three, four people. That's it.
yeah, it's a 3 hour commute from the lobby.
Oh,
Unsustainable.
oh man.
Yeah. So
So what
yeah,
happens?
yeah. So what happens
Who's
is,
inventing teleporting? That'd be awesome.
yeah, right. We should get
Hmm.
on.
Yeah. A
Um,
pulley and lever system where you just
yes.
like pull. What else can we do?
Yeah.
Flying. I mean, all
Yeah.
this helicopters.
Yeah. So we could do like helicopter delivery for your office staff.
Yeah,
Like a
exactly.
perk, right? Like,
I like it.
put it into the benefits package.
Hmm. Yeah.
Government. Like, yeah,
Or those things, the window washer things.
yeah, that's right. We'll just catch a ride with them.
Yeah, it's fine. You'll be
Yeah.
fine. Okay,
How
carry
weird
on.
would that be? You go to New York City, you just see a whole bunch of like robotic
Spider.
windows up the outside of the buildings.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, so that's the kind of stuff that right now everybody's just kind of like trying to figure it out. But what's interesting, and I don't want to sound all doom and gloom because there are a couple markets to where things are actually like not affected that much. Oddly enough, like Austin, Texas,
Really?
the commercial in Austin hasn't really slowed down much.
Now, can you do commercial? Can you do practice commercial real estate everywhere, or is it like a separate license per state, like it is for residential?
Uh, the short answer is it depends,
Oh, okay.
which is always the answer in commercial real estate, in which you can never be wrong because
Oh,
it does,
jeez.
right? But yes, you do need a license to practice real estate.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, it can be done through attorneys.
Okay.
So it really does depend. I could, if I had a client in Austin, yes, I could find them the property. I could negotiate the deal. I could do the transaction, all that kind of stuff. Compensation may get a little tricky, but agency compensation itself isn't the sole requirement of agency. So you can get paid, you can not get paid, you can get paid by the buyer or tenant. Yeah,
Okay.
we just have different ways of doing things.
All right. Sorry to
Which
take
is
us off topic.
no, it's fine. It's just that's part of that's why I created like the class, right? Because
Yeah.
residential agents need to know this stuff before getting into it.
No, I get it. That makes sense. Okay. So back to in Austin, the office space is actually didn't like take a huge dive like in New York.
Yeah, I think maybe
Interesting.
just quite honestly, so and I'm not going to get political on this, but the states that you see where the lockdowns were longer and more severe, the industries in the commercial real estate is decimated.
So what do you think is gonna what do you think is gonna happen then? Like, what do you, in your crystal ball, what do you think commercial is gonna be like?
You're going to get a lot of 10,000 square foot companies that are going to say, and it's funny, so just Saturday, I just did an analysis where it was with 200, if 200 companies all gave up all of their assets in a specific market, it would equate to 450 million square foot of space.
Wow.
If 200 companies gave up all of it.
But what if they converted some of that stuff? Because I forget, I was reading an article. Like, what if they converted some of that stuff to like co-living, co-working spaces?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think that is a possibility. I think, we don't really have a clear-cut way on how that's going to be handled right now, but you're going to have to make some adaptive reuse decisions in your space.
Yeah.
Or give it up. The problem with a lot of that stuff, though, is like, okay, still, but who's your tenant?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it depends. I mean, right now, like you're saying, I mean, there's always a highest and best use, right, for the space. But then if 200 people, like if 10 of those 200 are in the same area, then you would revitalize the entire area. It wouldn't just be one building, right? So that makes a bigger difference and a different impact than just like one building.
Right. Yeah. I agree with you.
So how do you think that this impact on commercial real estate, is there a link to residential, or is it always, or, I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Like, are we really affected by it?
In the sense,
I hate to bring it back to us, but residential realtors are critical.
I know. I mean, y'all are always thinking about yourselves.
Yeah, we're perfect.
So in this sense of, if you're selling people houses that don't have jobs because their businesses just shut down, that's the correlation.
Do you think that shutting down your building equates to no job? Because we already know that's not true.
True, because
for many areas.
Because of situations like Zoom, right? Like where you can do work.
Sure.
Without being in your office or out being in a different
right
location.
Well, and the telephone and the internet and email, and you don't even need, I mean, yeah.
There are some businesses to which you're not going to remove that human element, though. I mean, you have to engage. As much as technology is a tool to help us be more efficient, you're never going to replace that human nature and that human connection.
Well, and some would argue that real estate is one of those, like for showings or stuff like that.
I would agree on that aspect, because
for both commercial and residential.
Well, yeah, different mindsets. So I need to sit with a business owner to really get an understanding on how they think. That time period may be between 9 and 5 as opposed to nights or weekends, right? But I'm not going to ever unless if it's an auction, I'm not going to just push buttons and do an analysis. Regardless of how commercial people think, my clients still buy me.
Yeah. They buy your expertise, your ability to ask them questions and figure out what their needs analysis, basically. Because sometimes even when that's the same in residential, like if people think they know what they want, but then they end up choosing something totally different, because we actually have done this type of transaction, same with you, so many times. It's like, what you're saying you want is not matching up with your business model. Like maybe there's a different way to do this, Got it. And that's where you're saying, like, we would never like as realtors, no matter residential or commercial, like that's still gonna be needed no matter what.
Still going to be needed no matter what. And I caution the technology path to, although it did, it has made us more efficient and it's kind of expedited a lot of issues. It exposed a lot of issues in our business models. I would say you don't ever want to remove the personal aspect to what you're doing, because essentially you're going to be putting yourself out of business if you don't protect that.
Do you think that you're seeing, it sounds like you have some examples where you're seeing a trend of that?
Are we allowed to talk about company names on this?
I think so. It's fine with
I
me.
I just don't want to get, a cease and desist or,
I guess
yeah,
let's try to get one. Let's try. Yeah.
All right, so, you got companies like Zillow, and you got like, they weren't going to be a brokerage.
And
right?
now they are.
And until they were. Right. You got companies like Redfin that are like employees on the listing side, right? So in the commercial side, we see the same thing. We got CoStar, which is like the MLS, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now imagine if your MLS
became a broker. Huh. Right. Oh, shit.
You see the issue? And like, that's what we're faced with, like right now. So we are kind of our own worst enemies in that regard.
So you're seeing that same trend on the residential side, that you're like, hey guys, look and see, we're a little bit ahead of you on this.
Yeah, like, don't do the online showings and have all that as like you don't want to remove yourself from the transaction just for efficiency.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I see what you're saying. I can see like the cons, and I also see like some of the pros, because I think like, so how has it affected you? So CoStar / MLS is now a broker.
Or they're going that way in the near future.
Okay, they're gonna be a broker.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
They control all the data.
They do. That's true. That's no bueno.
Yeah, they have a monopoly on data, and anybody that tries to start a competition company, they sue the crap out of them, and they usually win.
But what, isn't that a
monopoly?
Monopoly, right?
It is.
Not the board game.
The SEC allowed it.
Oh wow, that's intense.
When CoStar bought LoopNet, there was a big SEC investigation to determine if this was a monopoly. It was determined it wasn't.
Is that the same with when Zillow bought Dotloop?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's equivalent to that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We should have done this with cocktails.
I don't drink.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Coffee. You could have coffee.
I drink coffee.
Yeah, you have coffee. You drink coffee. I'll drink cocktails.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. So this is intense.
Yeah. I'm kind of an intense person.
You are. Let's bring it back to what we were like originally discussing. And we were talking about commercial real estate as a whole, where we think it's going. Do we think that it's a good add-on if residential realtors are looking to, I don't know. I mean, it's a totally different monster.
It is a totally different monster. Here's what I'm going to say. There's a difference between the 2,000 square foot storefront that you do on your local main street, okay, and a 10,000 square foot piece of commercial real estate that is owned by an international investment firm.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
You're going to handle it different. There's going to be different processes in place. I would say learn on that 2,000 square foot space, right? Most likely if you get sued, the owners aren't going to have a lot of money to like sue you with. So that's fine. You don't want to get sued for like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Don't get sued.
right?
Right.
So, but before you try to get involved in the multi-million-dollar transactions, just refer it and work with a commercial person,
Yeah.
because quite honestly, I'm just gonna say, anytime a residential agent calls me and they're like,
Hmm.
I have this $1 million listing, I'm like, well,
Hmm.
how many commercial transactions have you done before? Oh, this is my first one. You know
I
what
have
I
to
mean?
sigh.
I'm just kind of like, I gotta take a breather for a second and go, okay, well,
Yeah.
here we go. Like, I don't want to discredit them or discourage them in any fashion, but they just need to know it's like,
It's
you
just
know,
different.
it's a different language. Just because you can buy the Rosetta Stone doesn't mean you can speak the language, right?
No, true. But I think in the past too, we've talked about like the kind of characteristics of commercial agents. So it's very heavy in like math and data analysis, and it's also very heavy in relationships.
Yep.
So like maybe if you're that type of person
Mm-hmm.
that likes those pieces of residential real estate, it might be good to learn about some smaller stuff,
Yeah.
um,
Great.
and
Yeah.
see if you really do like it and
But
get
you
some
got to be willing.
experience.
But you got to be willing to be upfront to your clients that you're not a commercial person.
Yeah, I know I've done a couple of commercial stuff, and it was like what you said, like a small storefront, or like one we have now is like a small office building. But yeah, I always partner with commercial because I'm like, I don't even
Yeah,
know what
exactly.
is happening.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing to do. If you don't know, don't do it. That's actually Article 11 of the National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah, it says
Wow.
in name.
Quoting.
It name. Sorry, I'm a professor by trade. It's just
Yeah.
like what I do. So no, that is the second paragraph. It names out commercial real estate, and they say that um, you should have the ability to perform a transaction above a normal person.
That makes sense. And
So
if not, then get help
then,
or
right,
refer
exactly.
it. No, that makes sense. I mean, we say that about short sales too. It's like if you don't know how to do short sales, because short sales we think are, potentially coming back. It's like get somebody who does. Like don't try to do it. It's a waste of everyone's time and money
Right.
and effort and all this. Well, let's tell them one more time. If they want to find you, they can go onto any social media platform and do D
Yep.
Scott Smith.
CCIM. Yep. There is another D. Scott Smith who's a doctor, but
Hey, there you go.
he's not as cool as me though.
No, of course not. And then the podcast is
Commercial Real Estate Weekly.
Commercial Real Estate Weekly. And if they're interested in diving into commercial,
You can go to my Patreon channel, which is patreon.com/CRE education.
awesome.
Your commercial real estate education.
Yes, we got that. We're smart.
Yep.
Okay. Always
All
a
right.
pleasure having you on. We always
Thank
learn a
you.
lot. Kind of
Oh.
end up in the downer every time, but that's okay. Just kidding.
Well, maybe one day it won't be a dumpster fire, and we'll have great things to talk about.
Maybe one day. But I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right, cool. Be good.
Have a good day.
Bye.